Welcome to PPR Podcast number 93, brought to you by the San Diego Strike Force. My name is Rudy. The star of the show sits just 3 feet away. Your name is?
Bert.
Bert. And for the first time in podcast history, we have a repeat guest. Would you like to introduce him?
Do I need an introduction? I always butcher your last name, Verlain. Is it Betofe?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, I got it right for once. Verlain Betofe, everybody knows Makasi, 4-time state champ.
The backpack. Everyone knows the backpack.
I mean, yeah, I don't even have to introduce you.
Coach,
and new coach at Mount Miguel High School.
And you have the dubious honor of saying yes to us twice, which is greatly appreciated. Because I know.
No, we had a Louis Riddick did twice. He's the second twice.
Well, you're the second 2-time guest, Coach.
I'm honored.
All right, but in this interview though, you have a different title. Can you talk about? This is the first time you and I have chatted post the decision to become the head coach at Mount Miguel. Could you talk about how that all came to be? When did you throw your hat into the ring? Why did you want that job?
I just thought it was a great opportunity. Mount Miguel was considered, kind of like an inner city school. So, I did grow up in the inner city, and I always wanted to, come back and be a head coach, in an inner city school. I loved my time at Mater Dei, was great, but I just, felt like it was time for me to make that jump and become a head coach and, try to, really go to a community and help out, some people that kind of look like me or, have the same upbringing that I have.
Does it get to a point, because, I mean, you've done so much as an offense coordinator, I think 4 state championships. You have Makasi, which has their own all-star game, traveling. I mean, when do you get to the point, like, because I felt like you should have been a head coach 4 years ago, before. I mean, was there a point where you just say, this is the time, or I'm not going to do it anymore, or I don't want to be a head coach, or how's that work?
I felt like I should have been a head coach a couple years back, but, sometimes God doesn't work in those ways. I had a couple opportunities that, one opportunity that didn't work, at the time, but, it was a blessing. At the end of the day, I got a chance to go to Mater Dei and really learn under, Coach Joyner and learn, just, from a different environment, being at a private school for the first time. So, it was a blessing, just overall. So, I just think I'm ready now, with everything I learned from, my times at Madison, Lincoln, Kearney, and Mater Dei. Now it's time for me to kind of, take the reins and, show everybody what I could do.
Well, your work is cut out for you. Mount Miguel, great school, hard-nosed kids. Everybody knows that from way back when. But you're accustomed to working at a school where kids flock to, the private school education. Mount Miguel is sandwiched between Helix and Steel Canyon. You lose a lot of kids that might go to your school to places like that. How do you convince them to stay in the neighborhood?
Number one, I think I've assembled, a top 5 coaching staff in the state of California, to be honest, what I mean? So I think it starts there. I got some really good coaches that, came along with me. Number 2, just, showing everybody that there's hope. I've been blessed with the opportunity to help a lot of kids get to the next level in college. I've had a lot of success offensively. So, I just think with, the success I've had with the coaching staff that we brought and also the, support from the administration, I think I think Mount Miguel is a gold mine, and I think, me being there, we're going to, turn this thing around.
And as you said, I mean, I looked at your staff, and I mean, the one thing you said, you look like the kids that go there. Those guys are all mentors. They're all community guys. Aaron Jones, I was kind of shocked you stole him away because he's the top guy in the county at either side of the ball that I'm concerned, one of the top guys. So does that, I mean, what you're saying is that pulls the kids in, really. I mean, you start to look at that, you see that, they meet these coaches. It's like college. When you connect with a college coach, that's usually where you go. It doesn't matter anything else.
Definitely. A lot of kids, it's a different day and age now, a lot of kids want to play for certain coaches as well, not only schools. So I just think having really good coaches around attracts kids. And, also they have a good feeder system in the Los Toros, Pop Warner. So, Los Toros is literally 2-3 minutes from, Mount Miguel. So just, having success, I just think winners breed winners. When you have success, people want to be a part of successful things. So, I just think our work is just to, help these kids get to the next level, have success on the field, and keep being great, mentors. And I think all that stuff is going to work itself out. So I believe in the process. I kind of have a blueprint of how this thing works. So you just got to stick to the plan, and everything's going to work out how it's supposed to.
Well, talk about the Mount Miguel environment. I know Coach Starr, your predecessor, went there, found the cupboard was bare, and yet managed to figure out a way, even though his numbers weren't like what other schools were, found a way to win some football games, and I assume you want to amplify, build on that. What's the environment? Suddenly, are your numbers going to spike up, or are you going to have to win with 25 kids? How does that work?
Nah, definitely. We're not going to have 25 kids. The goal is to have 40 on varsity, 40 on JV, the first year, and then, the second year have a freshman team as well. So, just doing things in the community, just getting some, we got a buzz right now that's going around. We got a lot of kids in the community that's, want to stay home instead of going to some of these other schools. So it's just about building a buzz in the community, in the middle schools. And, like I said, we, being blessed to have have some success in the past and having some really good coaches. So I think that's what's going to attract a lot of the kids, and we'll just, end up building from there. So we're going to have success on the field. We understand that, but it's just doing the other things like get on the community and really getting, Spring Valley to, kind of buy into, what we're doing here at Mount Miguel.
What's the biggest issue? I mean, because you brought up Los Toros. I mean, great program, great players. We've had Clark Moses on here, every youth kid it seems, but if you look at it, they all played in Eastlake, but they all end up not going to Eastlake. Whether they're Helix, Madison, spread all over. I mean, what's the secret to keeping those kids there?
I just think winning. I think everybody wants to be associated with a winner. You know what I mean? I think, when winners breed other winners. So, I know Mount Miguel hasn't had a lot of success in the past as far as the win column. I know they made a, huge jump when Starr got in there, but, winning championships, honestly, like I'm here to win championships and I'm here to send guys to the next level. So our expectation is not going to change. Same thing we did at Modern Day was, win CIF and win state and get guys to college. So those are the same expectations I have at Mount Miguel. So, the kids have bought into it. There's a couple of kids starting to get offers, and, people are seeing that there's, we can win there and we could be really successful there. So, I got a big vision for this thing, and it's going to take a couple of years, but we'll, eventually we'll be one of the top teams in the county.
You, Jason Carter, Coach Clark, you all kind of have that acclaim to success as it relates to the 7-on-7 and the junior programs. Do you guys get along?
Yeah, Coach Clark.
Yeah, Coach Clark, JC. I mean, you guys are kind of all fighting over the, you all want quality quiz, right?
Yeah, Coach Clark's like my big brother, man. I talk to, Coach Clark all the time. He's a great dude, and yeah, me and Jason get along. You know what I mean? I've been knowing Jason for a long time. It was funny when he was at Mission Bay. He wanted me to be his offensive coordinator. So, we got a good relationship.
But it's funny. I mean, you bring that up, but you all have the same. I mean, every kid that's good seems to go through one of you three guys at some point in their career. So it's kind of. I mean, every time we come on here, it's one of the three of you has touched a kid.
Yeah, and Coach, they're little kids. I mean, they're young kids. I get the ones that are faster and stronger stick out, but how can you be sure that the kid that, I mean, the youngest kid that you encounter is what age usually?
We got sixth graders.
So a sixth grader, between 6th and 10th grade, a lot can happen. How do you identify which is the kids that are going to make it at your high school level and then beyond?
I don't know. I've been blessed with the ability to have like a eye for talent. I see certain things in athletes that others don't look at. So I remember Brandon Lewis. He ended up going to the Tennessee Titans. I remember seeing him as a 9th grader, and I saw his feet. His feet were just different from everybody else. And I remember telling the coaches, yeah, that kid, he's gonna play in the NFL. And everybody thought I was crazy, at the time. But, he ended up, getting a chance to play for the Tennessee Titans. So I just got ability to see certain things in kids that, others might not see. I had a kid named Josh Meredith that's at Washington State. I remember he came out to, to work out with me, and he ran a slant and he dropped it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's all I needed to see from him. I knew he was going to be different, you know what I mean? But, I just got ability to see things in kids that, some people might not be able to see.
Brandon went to Air Force first, didn't he?
Yes, he went to Air Force, yes.
Why'd he go to Air Force if he's a receiver?
Man, his dad was in the military, so it was kind of one of those things, but, he did his thing there. So, and he got an Air Force degree, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, let me ask you this. So I want to. Paul and I made that trek up. Was that Dorsey? Who do we go see?
We saw them play Dorsey.
Was it Dorsey?
Yes.
I mean, just watch it.
In the rain.
Yeah, in the rain. And I go through you guys ended, what'd you start at, 0-4 or something like that? And then went on this, just a totally different team throwing out and then going to be state champs. At 0-4, what's it like? Were kids checking out? Were they, because most 0-4 teams end up 0-9 or 1-8. They don't end up going to a state
brutal
championship.
Schedule. They were hurt. They came close. Carl's.
I'm just talking about the mindset. How do you keep that focus from that point and then end up being state champions? That was the most impressive thing to me. It's like from that to state championship is probably. You know how it is with kids' minds. 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they check out.
I think it's just sticking to the process. Me and Aaron Jones, we went through this before. And Coach Joyner too. We played in a lot of big games and had a lot of success. So we've encountered all different types of season. I remember being at Madison in 2015, I believe. We started out 0-3, and everybody thought the bridge was falling, and then we won like 9 straight, ended up playing in the CIF championship game. We ended up losing, a nail biter to the Saints. But we've been in these situations before. We know you just gotta, stick to the script. Sometimes things don't bounce your way, but you gotta keep, one day at a time, keep stacking them days, and eventually everything's gonna work out. So we just kind of told the kids sometimes losing is a good thing. You learn a lot from your losses as well. So just take it, learn from it, let's keep building from it. And that's what we did. And they kind of just rallied around each other. And then they kind of used that, everybody doubting us, don't think we could do something about it, and took it. And then we ended up winning, back-to-back state championships.
So how does that phone call, or is it a face-to-face conversation with Coach Joyner when you say, okay, turn out the lights, the party's over? How does that go?
It went well. He was real supportive of me. He understood that, he thought, I should have been a head coach as well. So, it was a great conversation. He was just supportive of me. He's, told me he'll root for me. He's rooting for me. So it was a great conversation. Me and Coach Joyner had a good relationship. We worked really well with each other. So we had we accomplished a lot together. So, I just think it was, he was happy for me, for, getting an opportunity to show what I could do as well.
Is there a Verlain disciple that's left behind that will run the same system, or are they, I know it's not your concern, maybe this is an off-base question, but does Mater Dei change without you there?
Coach Eddie Amon is going to take over the offense. He's been coaching with me for about, 4 years, so I think he's going to do a really good job. He's kind of been under me, know what I do. So, I think giving him the reins, I think he's going to do a really good job. He's smart. He puts in the work. He understands, football. So, I think they're going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine. Just got to keep it, keep everything rolling.
So not your head man. Is it still going to be a McCossie Bowl, or is that too much time now?
Nah, I could do it all, man. I know how to balance, 5 things at once. So I kind of prioritize things, So, and I got a lot of good people, that are in Team McCossie as well that help me. So it's just not only me. I might be the face, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of work. One of those guys is, my boy Demetrius Hasley. He plays a big part in our success, with McCossie, just from the, mentoring aspect. He calls a couple kids that he puts under his wings, where he checks on their grades, reaches out to the schools. So he does a lot. Just, we do a lot outside that people don't know, not just the actual 7-on-7 stuff. So I got a really good group around us that really help out. Coach TJ McKay is another one. He plays a big part in what we do in McCossie. So I got a good group of people around me.
Meach is my if you're watching high school football during the high school football season, he's my favorite Twitter follow during the season.
Why is that?
He's hilarious. Follow during the high school season. He's hilarious.
Well, I think I follow him now. So, Coach, are you teaching there as well, or are you just off campus?
I'm there, so I'm off campus, but I'm gonna be there from 11 to 3, 3:36, whatever time school get out. So I'm deciding whether to get my teaching credential or not. I got to take one test and then do the student teaching part, but I'm deciding whether to do that or not right now. But I'm there, I'm subbing and just being there on campus as well, just to make sure the kids, see me and the teachers see me on campus.
So that's going to be your office then, basically, your office away from home.
Definitely. Yep.
Is this like, so, I mean, I've seen it like you take over a program, do you do the usual walk around, go around lunch, see a big kid, try to get them to sign up, or are they coming to you? Do you got to go to them or are they coming to you?
Nah, I gotta go to them. So, so I've been on campus. Just there's a bunch of big kids on campus. So we've gotten a lot to come out and to work out. So kind of see what we're doing. So we have some good numbers there, man. It's been about 50 kids working out in the weight room. Which is from what I heard a lot more from in the past. So we're just trying to build on this thing and take it to the next level. Like I said, our expectations not changing. It's about winning championships and sending guys to college. So, that's where we're at.
Didn't you just have I'm sorry, didn't you just have a middle school camp this past weekend too?
Yeah, we did. We
How was that?
It was good. It was around 60, 70 kids out there from the community. We put a free camp on, was teaching these young guys, just some technique and stuff like that, let them have fun, just, get to meet our coaching staff and everything like that. So it was good. It was a good deal. The kids liked it, the parents liked it. So it was good all around.
You bring up getting kids to college. Is it become easier or is it more difficult to get a kid to college now with the NIL thing and the portal, the transfer portal, all that blowing up? Is your work more difficult or is it easier?
It's harder just because of the transfer portal. I know there's kids that, would have went, FCS in the past, but, with the whole transfer portal, these guys are trying to get the sure thing just because they played. So, colleges are looking at it like, why get a high school kid at an FCS when I can go get a kid that played, was a backup at Washington State for 3 years. I've been in a college weight room, that's, been in a college and everything like that. So I just think, college football dynamics have changed. College coaches got 2 to 3 years to win now. So, everything's about win now instead of kind of building. So I think it's a little harder, but, I've been fortunate enough the last, 10 years of coaching, building a lot of relationships with a lot of coaches. So, my word does matter a lot to some of these coaches. So, it's a lot harder, but, it's for me, it's, I do a pretty good job at it because I have a lot of relationships with a lot of colleges.
So, I mean, how do you do that with it? Because, I mean, you hit it on the head. It's like, why wouldn't I go to a guy that's Power 5 that's been in the weight room 3 or 4 years, been developed? I mean, why even give a kid a scholarship anymore? I mean, you develop them 2 or 3 years, you feed them, you train them, you put them away, and then they leave.
Why not just, are we going to see college programs just get away from recruiting kids from high school altogether and just recruit in the portal?
No, I don't think so, because there's kind of, I've talked to some college coaches as well. Some college coaches haven't had success in the portal. They feel like, portal kids come in and feel a little entitled and, just from being at bigger programs and, they've kind of built through the high school. I know talking with the last Sac State staff that went to Stanford, they didn't take they took like 3 portal kids and just kept building from the high school reign. So I think you're going to still get college, high school kids, but I think the portal is going to be more for like plug in and play, right? If you need a couple guys here and there, you go get them, or if you need some depth here and there. But I still think you have to build within the high school range, because that's the only way, you're going to sustain something.
And back in the day, it used to be all high school kids and you plug and play some junior college kids. Now it's just crazy.
20 years from now, Coach, you'll still be a young man. So 20 years from now, when we look back on the advent of the transfer portal and then, of course, the advent of, or the formalization, because I think NIL has been around. It's just now the money's on top of the table instead of under it. But 20 years from now, are we going to look at those as the reasons why college football imploded, or are the reason why college football got better?
I think college football got better, personally. I just feel like, I do feel like these athletes deserve to get paid, being a former, Division I athlete, and Bert, it's a lot of work.
I got paid.
I know, you're a big dog. But you know what I mean? But it's a lot of work just from trying to manage your social life, then football's a full-time job itself, school's a full-time job. So I think it's going to be better. I just think they need to find a way to kind of legislate it a little better, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I got a couple ideas, but, I just don't know how it's going to work.
All right, what do you say then to a dinosaur like me who says, yeah, but isn't that scholarship, that $70,000 a year scholarship at Stanford, one of those big big time schools. Isn't that payment?
No, that comes out to what? What does that work out? The 18 grand a year? That's not payment.
No, if you go to
20 grand a year?
Stanford, that's 70 grand a year.
Yeah, but then my retort would be, you see how much money the NCAA is making off these kids, so it's like, you're
Well,
making.
yeah, but they have to buy the schools and build the buildings and do all the expensive stuff.
Not all of it. Some of these presidents are making, man,
You seen some of these endowments?
it's crazy. Yeah, some of these endowments are amazing. So it's like, I think you got to split the revenue at least, with the athletes because they're the product. You know what I mean? So people are coming to see the athletes on the field. So I do believe like, you got to pay the athletes. I don't know about millions.
The reason why I bring it up, Verlain, is that I'm looking at San Diego State. Basically, they lost a pretty good basketball player for NIL money, right? I mean, the big kid.
Yeah,
Johnson?
I don't know if it was NIL money, but.
Well, I mean, he was playing here, and he was making some NIL money, but he wasn't making, he was making San Diego State NIL money. So basically, you're going to lose. It's just going to become, it's going to be the haves and have-nots all over again, where the schools that can afford to pay the most players the biggest money are going to get all the players.
But I think we end up adapting because I remember when free agency came to the NFL, and I was like, this will ruin the NFL because you grew up and probably can name still to this day every Green Bay Packers starter.
Minnesota Viking too.
Minnesota Viking. I can name every Eagles and Steelers starter from back in my day. And then
what was your team growing up, Verlain?
I didn't really have. I was a 49ers fan. I was.
That's right. That's right. So you could name all the '80s lineups from the.
But we happened and it changed and it just went on seamless and it's back to even more and more money. So we'll adjust to NIL and transfers and everything else.
Yeah, but I distinguish differently between the NFL and college. Listen, you opened my eyes to how corrupt it's been. Now that the money's on top of the table, I get that, but I always thought that scholarship had value.
I have a question I'm always wondering, because I'm going to make you answer this on camera. So you've been to every school. Which parents are more difficult to deal with? Private schools, private schools or public schools?
Man.
Well, answer this one honestly, Verlain.
Oh, it's both, bro.
So it's all of them?
You got different problems at each school, but most of the parents are great, but you always gotta
there's always
a few parents at private or public that no matter what you do, you know what I mean, they're you know how it goes.
All right, Verlain, I'm in your office. You're not playing Joey. Joey is better than Charlie, who you're playing all the time. You like Charlie better than my Joey. Why aren't you playing Joey? You say.
Charlie's better, and if you don't think so, we can sit down and watch film together, and I can break it down to you.
Do they ever take you up on that and watch film together, or they just leave it at that?
No, they'll leave it at that because I've shown some parents, some film of their kids and let them know, or even I got kids that I help with recruiting. Everybody thinks they could play in the NFL, and I'd be like, okay, you want to go D1? Let me show you a D1 linebacker, and we'll watch the film together, and I'll be like, do you think you're as good as him? You know what I mean? It's just sometimes it just kind of showed it to him, but most of the time the parents are good and the kids are understanding about it.
And that's why I hate the social media thing, because it used to be you'd sit down and you'd watch film and you'd watch it and you see why you're not as good as somebody. Now it's like everybody cuts it up. They put some Drake on the background.
Yeah.
And the first 2 minutes is them warming up and doing stuff.
To some
And to them, their highlight, the 2 plays out of the whole game is they don't realize you have to play those 2 plays, 80 plays out of the whole game. I mean, does that hurt?
Yeah, it's about like for us, we grade our players, you know what I mean? So that's one thing we do with our kids is we've always graded them. So you're not grading it on one play, you're graded on an entire game. So, we give GPAs at the end of the game. So if a kid be like, well, I play well, you grade at a 2.1, you know what I mean? And this guy graded at a 2.7. And we have, so each, we do it just like a regular grade. So if you do a play, you get a 4, B 3, 2, you know what I mean? So at the end, we're able to tell you on play 66, you got a 1. And you want to see why you got a 1? Let's watch it. You know what I mean? So you're able to break down with these kids what they did bad and also their good plays. So for me, it's all about, being consistent and not just a splash play here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, I don't think anybody sits down with these kids and and sits down and says, this is what people are going to look for. They're not looking for your splash plays. I mean, if you want to send film out, send you doing this, this, and this instead of this. And they're all doing this, not this, this, and this.
Well, Coach, using that grading system, grade my ability to pick a silver pigskin podium.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You on the bench.
Come on, get it out.
You're probably a 2 right now, man.
Well, you can. I got a 2.
Hey, I forgive you though, man.
Room for improvement. Oh, you got it. You're a head coach now. You got to forgive him now.
I forgive you now, man.
Coach, I wish we could switch. Well, I can't do your job, but you come be in one of our. I'm going to invite you to the next meetings. It's a hard thing to do.
You don't invite me to the meetings.
But I'm going to invite Verlain because he's been I would say my number 1 critic or the loudest critic, and it's not easy.
I know, but this is my thing, right? This is my thing. So in 2 years, we won back-to-back state titles, right? And we didn't have one guy on the podium. I'm not even saying the guy should have won it, you know what I mean? But we should have had, for a team to have back-to-back state titles, don't you think one guy should have been on the podium? You can make an argument right now. I can make an argument that Dominic Nankill is the most accomplished quarterback in San Diego history. Maybe not the most talented, but the most accomplished. I don't know how many quarterbacks have won back-to-back state titles. He threw for over, 3,500 yards back-to-back year, over 30-some touchdowns and, picks. It was like 82 touchdowns to like 16 picks, all CIF, first team twice, or even Trey Edwards, 4-year starter, had over 300 career tackles, like, defensive player of the year. I just felt like one of them 2 should have made it. I really did feel like that. One of them 2 should have made it, especially in a team, that won back-to-back state titles.
And you know what the problem is, though? Sometimes we forget that the honor is just being up there, but we think, not we, because I'm not on the committee because he don't invite me, but everybody was like, Roderick's winning. So I don't think I keep saying we, people just didn't even get up to even fight for anybody else, really.
I'll say this, we're making eye-to-eye contact on Zoom. You're right. But you know what? I go back and look at it, and because everyone's got to remember. First of all, you're right. Maybe I should just leave it there and keep my mouth shut. But you got to remember the cutoff for all this is at the end of the regular season. So the body of work that a lot of those numbers you were talking about, and they're great numbers. And I love I love both kids. Let's just go on record with that. Some of those numbers happened after, after the podium was already picked. But that said, you're right. And
the other part,
once you do it after the year when the season's all the way done, so that way you can get a real.
Great idea, Verlain. But we got the shows on the 6th or November 29th, and you got to let everyone vote. There's a real compressed timeline as to figuring out who's going to win, because all you coaches have to get a vote.
You're a big dog, man. You and Bert big dogs. Y'all can make it happen.
No. Well, you know what the other problem is? We go, and it goes back to Dom. There's 50 games a night. So I got to go see Dom's, first game he was a junior, and that's when I was like, you got to see this kid. You got to see this kid. He didn't get to see him until his 3rd, 4th game of his senior year. So you don't, unless you're there really seeing it,
Yeah, but hold it. Let's not say Rudy's a dodo and didn't realize how good he is. I said his escapability was second to none.
Is that a word? That's a Bobby Ross word, escapability.
Well, all right, his ability to turn a broken play into a positive play
there you go.
is undeniable. And even a dodo like me recognized that. It was just, now I can't even remember who was on the podium. At the end of the day, it's hard to see anyone beating Roderick when, getting that trophy, right? You could see that at least?
No, he deserved to win it. My argument wasn't Rod not winning it. He was clear-cut the winner. My thing was, Dom or Trey deserved to be at the podium. That's all we were asking for is, somebody, to represent Mater Dei, because I felt like, we were, one of the top teams in the program and been for the last, couple years. So I just felt like, not having one person there, it was, you could put, Dom's numbers or Trey's against almost anybody.
Well, Trey's numbers as a junior, certainly. But all I can say is you're right. We're wrong. We but it's not the first time we dropped the ball. Reggie Bush didn't win as a senior.
Chris Olave?
there's a kid playing in the NFL that didn't even get on the podium either. So
Did Alex Smith win?
Alex Smith did not get.
Oh, sorry.
So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is,
But Tony Jefferson won, right?
no, he was on.
Oh, sorry.
It's not the first blunder we've had, and the compassion you showed towards me during the whole thing was.
Man.
Hey, I was a little upset, man. I champion my boys, man. They work hard, and they wanted to really be on there. So, it was a little disappointing for the boys because they worked their butt off to get to that point. And one thing about Trey is that, when he was healthy, he got hurt the Carlsbad game, but
right.
The Cathedral game, we were kind of rolling before he got hurt, and he wasn't healthy until honestly Saints. And in the last 2 years when Trey was healthy, we didn't lose a game. Literally, we didn't lose a game. So, Trey meant that much to not only the defense but the offense, the team, and everything. So, Trey he's a once in a decade type player that not only what he brings on the field but off the field, the leadership, and just has this magnetic personality. Like when he's not in the field, like the whole team was different. So that's the thing about Trey was like I don't think you could really account for that.
Just for the record, as we wrap this up, Trey was up, and I believe Dom were both up for offensive and defensive.
Fan vote?
It wasn't like we completely.
I think they were both on the fan vote too, aren't they?
And they were both in the fan vote. So it's not like they were ignored. I just want to get that. You guys, you have the McCossie community and you had the Modern Day community. They were both had an avenue to get on the podium.
You are way over today. What do you want?
All right. Oh, hey, Verlain, can I ask you one more question?
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Throw me just because we were talking about the transfer portal, and I just heard about this. Jaleel Tucker is going through the portal. What do you know about that?
I don't know much about it. I just know he's really fast and athletic, so I'm pretty sure he'll land somewhere really quick.
Okay. Well, we kept you for 32 minutes. You are now officially the longest podcast of the bunch on the second time round. So,
appreciate you guys.
Sorry, Verlain. I told him 20 minutes, but I can't get you on.
Hey, all I need though is you guys just make sure you guys at the Mount Miguel game. We gotta, we're gonna valley it up this year.
Am I allowed to come?
Yeah, you're allowed. I told you I forgave you, man.
And so I'm off the shit. I'm off
Wow.
I'm off the list.
Yeah, you're off the list, man. We back good, man.
You back on.
All right.
Back good.
It's not for good. It's just I'm off for now.
Till week 2. He's always off the list in the offseason. There's a whole different list during the season.
Coach, I appreciate your time, and I wish you success. And I'm sure this is not the last time you and I will chat.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you,
3,
Verlain.
2, 1. The podcast is over. Turn off the machines.